I'm on Disney Plus right now. I'm just trying to scroll to find The Mandalorian. Episode 3, I believe we're on. Yep, chapter 11. Oh shit. Looks like I see Sasha Banks right here.
It is celebration time for Sasha Banks.
It's only 35 minutes? What the fuck? In the words of Michael Cole. Okay, I thought that was a great episode. That was, well, first and foremost, like, that was the best episode of The Mandalorian I've seen from season 1 all the way to now. And it just worked. There's just so much about it that I just loved. And plus I saw Sasha Banks, so in the terms of, you know, pro wrestling, I marked the F out. I love seeing Sasha Banks. I think she's the best thing going on in WWE or anything really. We're met with Bo-Katan, who is played by Katie Sackhoff, who I know as Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. And I gotta say, first and foremost, before I hop into it in the nitty gritty, great fucking episode. Alright, so before I hop in, I just want to let everyone know once again that I am a prequel fan. I enjoy the Star Wars prequel era of the franchise. The prequel era is my favorite part. Like anything that has to do with the before times, before the Empire, I think the story is just that much more engaging. I love the Clone Wars era. I love everything about the before. So, I did keep my eyes open for a couple of things in this episode, and there wasn't a lot of member berries like there were in episode 1, and I guess there was some in episode 2, but episode 2 was just kind of just drier than usual. Everything that we were waiting for in episode 1 came to a standstill in episode 2. Like everything that we wanted to see continue, like the Boba Fett armor, all that stuff came to a halt in the last episode. But here, finally we're back on track. But the biggest takeaway was as soon as I saw Sasha Banks' character pop up on screen, I was like, oh my god, it's Sasha Banks. Now, she doesn't go by Sasha Banks, you know, credited in the episode because WWE does own the Sasha Banks name and character. I wanted to think she was Sabine, but the Disney Plus subtitles labeled her as Koska Reeves. I'm not that familiar with the character. I didn't finish Rebels. I think there's just one more season I need to watch to complete it. So don't crucify me for that. I don't remember a character named Koska Reeves or if she's just created for the show. But definitely not Sabine Wren. But when Bo-Katan showed up on the screen and removed her helmet and that red hair, and then I see Katie Sackhoff behind the helmet, I was like, oh my god, this is like amazing. So that was a highlight for me. And we end with a cliffhanger of they're going to Corvus, which I think is one of the sites of a Jedi temple. I think in Jedi Fallen Order we learn this. Wrong! Amanda's whole mission is to take the foundling, the youngling, the child, baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him, and take him to the Jedi. Because he was originally in transit to go to the Empire, and obviously that ain't cutting it. And naturally, with Bo-Katan's relationship with Ahsoka, as we see in Rebels, and, you know, and the Clone Wars too, it's like for Star Wars fans that were watching like every series and are like all caught up with this, it gets you all giddy because you're like, oh, I know them, I know that, and all these worlds are coming together, and now it's confirmed, you know, Ahsoka is still alive, she's on Corvus, and now it seems like in the next episode we're going to actually get the child to Ahsoka Tano. Next episode should be insane. We'd hope we don't get another standstill plot like we did with episode 2. But I'm just gonna go in and go through the episode real quick and give you my final thoughts. So we crash land on Trask. You know, Frog Lady was reunited with the Frog Man. Child is hungry, and we see Sasha Banks. The child's food fights back at him. Then Mando meets a man who can bring him to the others of his kind. And apparently the guy, you know, led him into a trap. You know, when he was chuckling at first, I was like, something's a little off about this guy. Why didn't Mando pick up on that? So and Mando is tricked and is trying to be killed for the Beskar. The Beskar armor, it's very valuable, so obviously these pirates want it. And apparently they're rescued by Bo-Katan and other Mandos. Love that. I was kind of hoping that Sabine was going to be in this episode. I thought that, because, you know, all the speculation that Sasha Banks was going to be playing Sabine, I thought that's what we were going to get, but she's credited as Koska Reeves. So I guess we'll roll with that. I want to learn more about that character because I love Sasha Banks. She's my favorite. And Mando doesn't accept their ways of removing the helmet. Said there's only one way, and he flies off with the child. So Bo-Katan saves Mando again and elaborates on a plot to retake Mandalore. If you remember the pre-Vizsla arc during the Clone Wars.
For generations, my ancestors fought proudly as warriors against the Jedi. This lightsaber was stolen from your Jedi temple. Since then, many Jedi have died upon its blade.
Bo-Katan, you know, basically elaborates the plot to retake Mandalore and says Mandalorians are stronger together. Sasha slurps on a worm, which was very hot. And the deal is made with Mando's in return for giving the child to a Jedi. At this point, it was not mentioned that it was Ahsoka, but I speculated Ahsoka.
You're lucky Anakin didn't show up. The way you're fighting, you wouldn't have lasted long.
You have Kenobi's arrogance.
You'll find I have many qualities for you to dislike.
Mando leaves the child with the Frog People to do the mission with the Mandos, which was infiltrate an Imperial transport to rob it for weapons. Bo-Katan is looking for something specifically, and we notice that the Imperial army is comprised of regular stormtroopers, so we're not at the First Order yet. And Bo-Katan, once they get control of the ship, Bo-Katan actually wants to take the entire ship. And Mando is feeling, you know, cautious. They kind of like have this little moment where Bo-Katan kind of feels like she's doing something shady, but in reality, she's like very desperate to retake the throne.
We're taking the entire ship.
What?
Bo-Katan needs something.
There is something I need if I am to rule Mandalore, something that was once mine. They know where it is.
To take back Mandalore, and says this is the way, gives it right back to Mando.
This is the way.
In a very, kind of like an ominous way where you're like, can she be trusted? So I wrote in my notes, like, is this a Bo-Katan heel turn? You know, in the terms of pro wrestling.
How about a little heel turn?
But we learned that Bo-Katan needs the Darksaber, and the Darksaber is not on board. We learned that Moff Gideon has the Darksaber, played by Giancarlo Esposito. Gideon contacts the ship and basically tells him, you know what you have to do, long live the Empire.
You know what to do. Long live the Empire.
The captain kills both pilots and takes the ship down. But ultimately, the Mandos take control of the ship, and they learn that Moff Gideon actually has the Darksaber. Mando says that he still needs to take the child to a Jedi.
Where can I find the Jedi?
And that's when we basically learn from Bo-Katan that Ahsoka Tano's on Corvus.
Take the Foundling to the city of Kaladin on the forest planet of Corvus. There you will find Ahsoka Tano.
So that's where we're headed next, and yeah, not much else to say about that. I thought the episode was great, even though it was very short. I was not very pleased about that. I kind of wanted it to go another 10, 20 minutes. It felt kind of odd that the first episode was like almost an hour long, and it was just basically about, you know, tremors in the Star Wars world. And then episode 2 wasn't about anything. In the end, and yet when we finally get to a plot that I actually care about, it's the shortest episode of the season so far, so that's a little strange. But anyways, I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about the episode in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm gonna get back to you guys with episode 4 next week. Alright guys, see ya.